There we go. Am I working now? Good. How strange. My audio, you know, why do computers decide to just change the settings on something for no apparent reason? Like literally didn't update and then just decides to change the settings in OBS for my mic. Very strange. Here we are, we made it. Crisis averted. Hope you're all doing good. I'm good. Sleep deprived from the puppy, but apart from that, doing good. Okay, it's Thursday. Let's draw. Tina, rewatching the figure drawing fundamentals. Awesome. I think it stands the test of time, I think, for the most part. I will turn down the music. There you go. Sorry. Yes, I love that Martha Graham quote. I read it often. I think it's, yeah, once again, just a timeless bit of advice from someone who knew a thing or two. Okay, we've got I called these poses on the thumbnail classical poses. They don't feel dynamic, but they're quite quiet. But I think in their quietness, there's something elegant that we can get out of this. Okay. I'm a little bit, I'll be perfectly honest with you guys, in the interest of full disclosure. I won't say I'm frazzled, but I'm so sleep deprived right now. And was literally waiting for my daughter to get home just a couple of minutes before the stream started, so that she could take over puppy watching duty, and so everything was a bit of a rush. Anyway, here we are. We've got, what, 5 poses? 20, 40, 60. I'd say let's aim for like 15 to 20 for this one. It'll probably creep towards 20. You know how it goes. All right, let's do this. You are very committed, thank you. Look, it's I enjoy it too. Just some days it's like, okay, am I ready for this? Okay, I'm gonna draw. Before I start drawing, I need my magic putty, which I put underneath my board, so my board doesn't shift around. There you go, I told you I was unprepared. Okay. Yeah, I think they're good poses for a Thursday, especially a slightly sleep deprived Thursday. Yeah, I'm going to draw kind of large. I want to focus on what's going on with the torso. Much more like, so we have a supporting leg on this side, right? We have the iliac crest about here and here. Inguinal ligament coming down this way. Something like that. Let's find our center line. It's also a miserable day here weather-wise, and I'm just at that point in the year where Just desperate for some consistent, nice weather. But it's fine. It's what it is. This leg ever so slightly coming towards us, but it's very, very slight. Supporting leg obviously going straight down. You know, I've had a couple of dogs throughout my life, but in both those previous situations, they were rescues. And so rescues, you know, they tend to be a little bit older. And through, past the phase that this puppy is going through. But she's making up for it. You just can't leave them alone for a second. It's like having a toddler. I know, I have 2 new puppies. It's killing me. Just like having new toddlers. It really is, isn't it, Aya? It's mad. Not only toddlers, but toddlers on a constant rampage. Like, even down to the, you know, like, so last night I had to get up at 1:30. Having only got to sleep probably quite late, probably around 12:30, got up at 1:30 to bring her outside so she could go to the bathroom. Of course, put her back in her crate, she goes straight back to sleep. I'm up till 3 because I can't get back to sleep. Finally get back to sleep, and then at 6 she wakes up again to go to the bathroom. So I bring her back out. Of course, she goes back to sleep, but I don't. And then I bought her, so then she slept probably till about 9:30. And then I bought her for a long walk. And then when we got back, I slept for maybe, like, she crashed after that walk, but I slept for maybe 20 minutes. And it's just like, you know, the last month has been some version of that. My wife is also away on business, so it's all down to me right now. And it's a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love her to bits, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Right, well, I'd certainly take a bit more sleep, but yeah, it's flashbacks to when we had our kids when they were young. Let's keep these 2 middle fingers together. Index we'll separate out. We'll talk more about how we separate fingers and all of that on Monday's stream, which will be a hand focused stream. Something like that. I'm going to follow pretty much what's going on with the shadow and the light and tone on this. I'm just going to draw this thing that she's got her arm on, just as kind of like as a pedestal type thing coming down. I'm just going to suggest it there. So yeah, Monday is going to be hands. Then next Thursday we'll do, you know, kind of like we are today, more regular stream, figure drawing. The following week we're going to do knees, because someone in the last session asked about if we could do knees, and so I am taking requests. So I guess that is the point. I'm taking requests. So if there's something that you would like me to focus on for one of those sessions, please feel free to put in a request. Want to maybe try and do it in a particular, some kind of logic to the order, but at the same time I'm not even sure what that means. Yeah, of course. Very welcome. Okay, so that's pretty much my diagrammatical in place. I'll start over this side just to try and keep things tidy-ish. Now we have her hand sitting here too, which I should probably suggest. I don't necessarily like the way it interrupts the rhythm of what's going on, but we'll see. For those of you drawing along, little things we want to try and observe in the reference. For example, slight bit of compression coming in there, coming up to that fat pad that I always like to put in. It's really, you know, so much of I think what makes figure drawing successful is in those types of subtleties. Alright. Lat. Let's come up. You mean latissimus? No, Lulu. Yeah, Lulu doesn't seem to be here today. Oh, Lulu might do a late show. Yeah, it's a few regulars missing today, it seems. That's all good. You guys will have to make up for it in the chat. See? The chat, when the chatty people are not around, things are quiet. Okay, my proportions down here are a mess. I'm pulling all of this up because that simply doesn't work. No problem. Let's pull that up to there. That works. Yeah, it's better. Quite a difference. This tone is not nearly bold enough. Yeah, back to the generals. Although it's not giving me what I need, so I'm gonna just, well, this is generals too, but this is the primo. Just going to do my tone with this. It needs a bit more kick. I always have problems with arms from elbow to wrist. Is it because the muscles are twisting? Maybe I'll know something more on Monday's session about hands. Yeah, we'll discuss forearms. Well, part of it is because the radial bone rotates, right? So that can twist obviously the muscles of the forearm, which can make things a little confusing. I'll definitely I'll throw in some forearm ideas during that session for sure. And we got, let me just deal with this little cast shadow in there. And we've got our form shadow sitting in here. What was I going to say? It's gone. Actually, let's get in. There's a cast shadow coming across here. there's a little bit of shadow along the form here coming off the arm, but I want to try and not get too into it because it needs to read something like that. Drawing head session, please, Hemant says. I don't like the Conte Paris, Hemant. I find them really gritty, personally. Yeah, drawing head session, please. Well, we will get to the head, although I don't consider myself a head expert by any stretch. But what we're going to do before we get to the head is we're going to do nose, eyes, lips and ears as their own individual study. Because if you just take a structure like the nose, it has all these beautiful plane changes and volumes and masses that, you know, if you zoom in and just look at the nose, it's an incredibly complex and beautiful structure. And I think it deserves, rather than just thinking, you know, there's so many things going on with the head, it'd be nice to kind of just separate these things a little and just kind of make an analysis of what's going on with the anatomy, what's going on with the large volumes, and then we'll piece those ideas together for the entirety of the head. That'll be a little ways off. I think I'm going to call that there. It's 25 minutes. It's longer than I was planning on going on that. Okay. I actually feel like I've punched up shadow under the breast and in this area, and I haven't really done the same down here. Which I probably should, but in the interest of moving on, that helps. That just helps balance what's going on up here, down the form. Okay. Head is in the wrong place. All right, let's move on. I notice the squiggly lines you have, for instance, on the hat that you have on the arm. I don't see them, so do you just create them? When you say, Linda, when you say squiggly lines, are you referring to this, to this, to this, and this? I'm assuming you are. The only thing I can think of is squiggly. They are there. They are there. They're super, 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 super subtle on the model. But if you look, for example, let me just, right here, there's a little bit of compression, right? Look really closely. We'll just look at this stretch here. The forearm is up, thus it's putting compression on this general area of the lower bicep. So we have this little kind of curve here. Then we have the relatively straight passage of the bicep. And then we have right in here, we have a little fat pad. And everyone has it, even people that are lean. You just need to look for it. And I always like to show this fat pad. I like to look for opportunities to get away, to bring visual interest, right? Same on this side. If you look really closely, there's an ever so slight bit of compression here. Then we come into the mass of the tricep, continuing its journey up here, and then it meets up with the deltoid, the shoulder, right here. We come up this way. Now, if you look, yes, I'm exaggerating it slightly for aesthetic for effects. But if you look, this is not just a straight line. There is ever so slight journey where this goes slight dip and then into where the humerus meets with the clavicle, right? So that's kind of the things that I'm trying to look for and trying to capture in my piece. And yes, I'm exaggerating them slightly, but the reality is, light on me is terrible. There we go. The light on me, sorry, the light on me. Those things are there. We just want to push them, right? We want to take what we observe, and we want to bring it into our work. This is my feeling, right? And I do that throughout the whole body, where I see opportunities, I see something subtle like that, and it's like, boom, okay, I want to show that. Makes sense? Drawing is like gambling. It's always different. I've never thought of it that way. I've never gambled, really. Been to, you know, it's funny, I've been to Vegas multiple times for concerts, mainly for concerts, in fact. It's really the only time that I would ever venture into Vegas. And I think the most I ever bet was about $10 on slots. I've never played the tables, never played the cards or any of that. I can't imagine spending my money on that. Drawing head is difficult, and still to capture lightness, madness. This is the problem with formulas. Although that's exactly what we're going to talk about, is formulas. When we get to the head, and when we do it with the body too, right? But the problem is being so married to the formula. I've seen it happen, people using the Riley method. Every head ends up looking the same, right? It's very easy for it to happen when you're following a method like that. You get so married to hitting all the bullet points of the method that you forget to create a likeness. Okay, this is going to require us to go into landscape mode. Great explanation. See it now. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. Good. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's where the magic is, Linda. This is where the dance happens, is with those subtleties, looking for the small ideas. After you've got the framework down, it's like, okay, now I can get in and I can play, right? And that's the way I kind of try and approach it. And that's what makes figure drawing, in my opinion, so interesting, and something that you can just keep coming back to again and again, because as you develop your skill set, you see these ideas more and more, you know. It's really exciting. I'll have a quick sip of tea. Did you have a puppy other than Penny? I've had 2 dogs as an adult. The last one was a black Labrador. Her name was Lily. Lily was an amazing dog. She passed away a couple of years ago, and I couldn't imagine having a dog replace her, but you know, time passes, and even though I can't imagine a dog replacing her, I can't imagine life without a dog. More so than a dog. No one will replace Lily. And then before that, there was a mutt mixed breed called Helga. And Helga was a sweetheart. She moved on. She passed away many, many years ago now. So yeah. Have you worked for ILM? Asked Lydia. No, I haven't worked for ILM. Well, I guess I could technically say I have worked for ILM. I'm teaching figure drawing at ILM. Once a month I go in and I do a figure drawing class with the artists there. So I guess so. But my wife does work for ILM. That's why I have the t-shirt. At what angle do you have your paper, asks Michael. Michael, this desk is approximately, or this board is approximately a 45-degree angle. But I'd say, no, actually that's a lie. It's not 45 degrees. I would have to say it's probably closer to 30. Now, if I was just drawing in a figure drawing class, I would literally just lean the board on my lap up against the table or a chair in front, or if I was on one of those drawing horse things, right? And it would probably be closer to a 45. 45's nice. This is actually a slightly uncomfortable angle for me to draw at, but I'm compensating for the camera. So, but I think 45 is probably really quite nice, because then it's pretty much straight on, right? I'm having to compensate for for potential stretch too, so I have to be kind of careful with that. There's tons of techniques to draw heads. I think that's where people get confused when they draw. Yeah, it's true. You had a Lily too, Jaeger, yeah? Shepherd Rottweiler, best dog ever. Now there's a handful. Oh, there we go. Okay. Probably will spend roughly the same amount of time on this pose. Let's see how we go. Knee is probably sitting about here, and then there's a volume coming down this way. Just ballpark it for right now. Asus, really quite, you know, Asus is quite a bit lower. It's really sitting down here, right? So then we've got the oblique sitting in here, but then we've got this coming down, but the iliac crest is probably sitting around here, give or take. Something like that will do for now. What camera do you use? Blackmagic? No, Hemant, although I was recommended Blackmagic. I can't afford the Blackmagic cameras. I'm just using a Sony, two different Sonys, but they're basically both the, like, what do they call them? The ZV-1 is the top one, and the other one is the one up from the ZV-1. I should probably have that camera up here. It's about a slightly better quality camera. But they, you know, they're fine. They do the job. I like the idea of upgrading and getting really good cameras, but that dream is a long way off, I think. Okay, clavicle going up this way. Let's find our large volumes here. So this clavicle's going up this way. Pectoral muscle is coming down here. This arm is going up here. Coming back down. Just gonna fit. Alright, trying to make the most of the real estate. Nice, okay, pectoral. No, she was the sweetest dog. Ah, that's great. Yeah, like what is it about dogs? Why are they so awesome? Well, it's so interesting, isn't it? Our connection with them. And I get the history and the reasons, but like they seem to be so tuned into us. It's really remarkable. Compared to cats, it's just night and day. Really is yin and yang, isn't it? And we've got 2 cats here, don't get me wrong. I'm you know, I realise I'm here to serve the cats. They've made that very clear. I'm going to talk a bit more about some of those subtleties that I see in the journey when putting down something that's a more committed line, because there's some lovely ideas here I think that are worth us discussing with this model. Let's just find manubrium's about here. Sternocleidomastoid's coming up this way. Let's assume this is all right. The ear is actually up here. Jaw. Head is sitting about there. Okay. Oh, Keith, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Okay, I'm getting to a point, well, I'm not really. I was going to say I'm getting to a point where I'm ready to kind of commit to a few ideas. I'm getting close to that, but I'm not quite there. I've got to deal with this. This is still a bit of a mess. So rib cage is sitting here. And you have the oblique coming down this way. My torso is too short. Navel would be about here. I'm going to lower things a little bit. I don't need to actually lower much, in fairness. But I do need to lower a bit. Let's bring this down to here. Okay. Then we've got kind of like the turn of the knee. The box of the knee is kind of sitting here, right? Kind of there. You need a bit more volume coming around. Probably starting about here. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And we've got the compression of the calf. Sitting in there. And this part of the leg is kind of coming down here. Once again, the box of the knee is starting about here. There's a tendency when drawing models, well, there's a tendency in figure drawing just in general where people want to put too many rounds in their work. I bang on about this all the time. You guys have heard me talking about this, but I think it's so important. There's so much more, like, you know, it's so easy for us to end up with like the Michelin Man when we're drawing. But you know, there's so many kind of straights and dynamics to be had with shape. Really want to try and, you know, exploit that. Rick is in the house. What's up, Rick? Hope you're doing good, man. Do you watch any series, Richard? I watch Big Bang Theory, Office. Excuse me. Yeah, I enjoyed The Office. Office was a good show. Excuse me. Trying to think, what series have I? Oh, you know, like, Yeah, series is a kind of hit and miss for me. I do get to them on occasion. Just recently watched that one Silo. That was kind of a bit of fun. I am partial to a bit of sci-fi, so that I enjoyed. Tried watching the first episode of that Fallout, that one that just came out, but I've never played the game. I don't play computer games. And I do feel like some of the subtleties of like characters were kind of lost on me. I don't think I'll go past the first episode, if I'm honest. Didn't really grab me that much. I kind of like the concept, but I feel like they tried to pack way too much into that first episode, especially as someone who doesn't know the world. Could have done with a bit, I don't know, just think things could have been, I wish they'd explained less better, if that makes sense. But I don't think I'm the target audience. I've literally never played the game. So I think if you're into that game, you're probably gonna love that show, I would imagine. It's very nicely done. Like, you know, the production's good. But yeah, not really my cup of tea. I'm glued to the computer today doing a Zoom collaboration on Photoshop all day. Brutal. Sorry to hear that, Rick. Well, we're here for you if you need us. Is probably about there. Super weird angle. All right, let's get into this. Your second episode is better, but I didn't care for the first. Oh, that's good to know. All right. Music changed to Carnatic. Yes, this is by Parwan Krishna. Would you say that was Carnatic? Okay. Hey, nice, Brittany. Yeah, glad we could make your lunch a little, you know, a little different. Okay, so let's talk about shapes, because I think we've got some lovely opportunities here, hopefully. Okay, for those of you who have the reference, let's talk about this area here, for example. We've got the head of the humerus sitting in right about here. And you can see the turn of the shoulder here, and then coming down this way. There's a lot of subtle ideas with shapes. Same with the breast here. I'm going to start with the breast. We'll work our way up. So we've got the volume of the breast, Then we've got the fat pad of the breast, and then we've got the pectoral muscle. Right? Once again, I'm exaggerating things slightly. Same thing here, very subtle, but there's a slight turn there. Then we come around. All right? Now, just coming across here, the joint of the elbow, then coming down, and then look at the way that at the wrist, we get this type of thing going on. And this is a really interesting thing, and I've never seen an anatomy book. I'm going to just pause for a second and talk about this, because I've never seen an anatomy book talk about it, or anyone that does figure drawing discuss this, but it's an observation I've made, and I believe it to be true, that there are some women, when they do this, they get a bulge that comes out from the forearm right here, right? Comes literally just like on the reference, comes out like this and then down this way. I've never seen a guy with that bulge in just the same way. This model has it. Not all women have it, but it's something I've seen, and I believe it to be true, that maybe it's just something like this, as I said, some people have. But I think it's a really useful observation for bringing in, once again, to observe that and to bring it into our work. But I've never seen it on a guy. Also, women, generally speaking, tend to be more double jointed than men, and they tend to hyperextend their elbows. So when they put weight on their elbows, we almost get this feeling like it feels like the elbow's bending the wrong way. Once again, rarely, if ever, see that on a guy, but common to see it on hyperextension on women is quite common, in my opinion, in my experience of drawing them. Okay, so let me just show you what I'm talking about here. So up here we have a very, very kind of soft transition where the head of the humerus is there. But then if we come down, if we look at this, the passage between here and here, we've kind of got, because she's putting her weight on here, we kind of get this kind of push out right there, right? And we also, this is almost, you can't see it, but right in here, there's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of compression. Almost can't see it though, realistically. Bit of compression there for the trapezius and coming around. It'd be so easy to look at a model like this and just assume that you're dealing with a series of rounded forms, right? She's quite voluptuous, she's quite, she's got that aesthetic, and it'd be very easy to kind of over-round forms. We've got the turn here, right? Then we've got a tiny bit of compression here, and then we're coming down this way. And then we're coming out this way. And that's how we can hopefully achieve and get some line dynamics in our work. Because people have asked me many times about, like, the thick and thin effect and all of that. It's all a byproduct, ultimately, of making observations of what's going on with the model. Yeah, I agree with you, Jaeger. It didn't feel carnatic to me. Ambient pseudo raga. I agree entirely. 100%. You're right. Take care, Tina. Have a wonderful weekend. Don't know how you're able to stop mid-stroke. Well, you know, it's not always it's not always successful, but you know. Okay, so coming just across here, I'm going to pull this line out just a tiny bit. Okay, so we've got this lovely shape that's going on where her tummy is down here. So you see the way it's kind of, it's doing this. So we really want to kind of emphasize that, because it's a great shape. And we'll hit that with some extra tone just to kind of get the point across. Then look here, look how straight this passage is along here, really. Then we get a direction change at around this point. And then coming down. So look at this, very box-like, right? It's shape language like this, which is why I enjoy so much drawing, let's say heavier, slightly heavier set models, because you just get these opportunities with these large spaces, of these large forms, to really have fun with what's going on with the shape language. Look at the metatarsals of the foot there, what we discussed on Monday. All right. All right, let's get into some, wow, we're going 28 minutes on this one. Good Lord. What's up, Lulu? Welcome. All right, let's get some tone going. Nice cast shadow, real clear, coming down this way. And a nice cast shadow coming off the other breast too. So pectoral. And you can find those same kind of subtle turns in the core shadows as well. Cool model today, Paul. I don't appreciate short haircuts. You can see a lot more details. That fancy hair would otherwise obscure. Yeah, you know, I tend to, you know what I really like, generally speaking, is when the model has the hair tied up at the back, because it's a really good way of reinforcing the orientation of the head. It's a nice kind of, you could call it a cheat, but it's just a really nice tool for kind of helping describe that orientation. And when the model has short hair, we lose that, and yeah, sometimes it's a nice thing to be able to add. We could just change and we could give her long hair. I won't do that. I need to change pencil here for the tone. There we go. Alright, we're just going to use core shadow and just tone in general to help describe some of this form going on. Subtle cast shadow down there. Alright, let's get some tone into this. We've got some lovely reflected light on the underside of the breast. I'm going to leave that the way it is for now, and probably just a quick smudge will get that where it needs to go. I can hear the Massive Attack in a music version or sample. I have no idea. Yeah, it does. It did have a bit of a Massive Attack energy about it, alright. This is all just music from Epidemic Sound, not curated by, well, not really curated by myself. Which it probably should be. I've been so lazy with the music selection. I think we've listened to this playlist like 1,000 times at this point. "37 minutes, I can't believe we've spent so long on this pose." Well, I say that, I kind of can. Like, a lot of drawing to be done. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's Thursday. We'll take it. It's all good. But I do think we're probably pretty much there. Let's put a bit of bounce light down here, huh? There we go. Okay, let's call it there. Okay. Nicely put, Lulu. Yeah, pretty much. I just don't want to draw in silence. What paper are you using? I'm using smooth newsprint, Linda. 48 GSM, the lightest, frankly, cheapest paper you can get. But I've yet to find anything, regardless of quality or price, that is as good for, at least for me and my style of drawing, for taking charcoal. In the way I want it to take charcoal. Okay, this next pose is going to be a fun one. I think we're probably going to spend the large majority of the time on this pose. We may end up jumping pose number 4 and then doing like a 5-minute pose with number 5. Let's see. But I think that was really our long pose, which I thought would be number 4, truth be told. But I can't imagine replicating that all over again. But I really like this next pose. Just something super fun about it. Yeah, nicely lit, right, Rick? I agree. Compared to the ones that we had that time where it was just a nightmare. Multiple light sources. Who's the new guest? Marshall. Who's Marshall? No, the podcast has been paused indefinitely. Just not enough traction, not enough interest, and a hell of a lot of work, frankly, editing those things, which, in fairness, was done by the wonderful Doug Kletch. It was just so time consuming, and when you spend hours and hours trying to produce something and it barely gets a blip on the radar, it's you just can't justify it. You never know though. I say paused, not finished. We could very well revisit it at some point. I actually think the way to do them would be to literally just do them live and let the unedited, whatever happened live, just go out. Marshall Vandruff. Yeah, okay. I had a feeling that might be the Marshall that you were talking about. I know of Marshall's work. Very talented artist. Yeah, sure, if I was doing the podcast, he would certainly be someone that would be very interesting to talk to. Okay. I think there's a lot of those, people like Marshall, that they would be interesting people to talk to. But yeah, as I said, it's just like too much work. It's a shame. And it'd be worth it if people were actually listening to them. All right, timer set. I don't know how long this drawing's going to go. It could take us till the end of the session. I think that's probably likely. I'm going to... Okay, so here's a little heads up for you folks drawing along. We have here what you could consider, for all intents and purposes, a very symmetrical pose. So you really want to try and find ways in situations like this to bring as much life as possible and as much... Whoa, I'm drawing way too big here. Okay. As much kind of dynamics as you can. You want to break up the symmetry as much as you can, which isn't easy, but that's our goal. I almost wonder if I should be drawing this. No, it's fine. Okay. I was going to say landscape, but it doesn't require it. find it loosely where our rib cage is. You can see that I put quite, it's very subtle in the photo, but I put quite a tilt here, and then I'm going to, I'm trying to push that by almost kind of tilting in this direction here. So easy for poses like this to just get incredibly static. Look at the way that the fat pad on the oblique sitting, resting on top of the oblique and then coming down. This beautiful passage coming down this way and up, and then doing that on that side. Wonderful. This leg, it's sorry, I'm just thinking, I think this leg is coming towards us ever so slightly more than the other leg. But it's really subtle. Okay, this needs to be refined, but it's fine for now. Maybe more of a push here. Take care, Rick. If you've already gone, I hope, well, see you next week. Yeah, I agree, Lulu. The editing took longer than the recording, obviously, by quite a significant margin. Thanks, Lulu. Well, I gotta say, when I originally decided to do the podcast, it was, it was for selfish reasons, in as much as there were some people I just genuinely wanted to have a conversation with, and it was a very good excuse to have a conversation. I get a hint at the foot sitting in here, but something I might add at the end. Just looking for really kind of subtle shapes that are going on. Potential subdivisions. Sternocleidomastoid coming up this way. Here. Still waiting, waiting for my client to know. Does anyone have advice on carpal tunnel? Yeah, there are. I've never had to deal with carpal tunnel. I'm very glad to say. I believe there are exercises that you can do to help. Rick, I don't know how much of it is mouse related or to do with your work. I would say holding the pencil overhand will help tremendously with combating the things that trigger carpal tunnel, which is tension obviously and inflammation on the tendons as they go under the band that's around your wrist here. Because I'm drawing from the shoulder and from the elbow, I'm not really using the wrist, and so I'm not really triggering it, if you know what I mean. So that's just maybe some food for thought, but I'm certainly not. I'm not really in a position to give any real advice on it, especially considering I haven't had to deal with it, luckily. I'm sorry to hear that you're dealing with that. I also think maybe, and I say this once again, this is very tentatively, but I think people tend to, like sometimes like I'll do it myself, like I find actually the time I notice myself doing it more is when I'm playing music, especially if I'm playing something that's difficult or I don't feel comfortable with, I find myself tensing. Like sometimes I'll be practicing and I'll just find like I'm scrunching up my toes really hard for no reason at all. And my toes aren't even involved in this particular exercise or endeavor. And I think it comes with, you know, just as you're focusing kind of thing. You know, another thing apparently people do is like they'll find that they're not breathing while they're doing it. They're so focused on what they're doing that they need to remember to breathe. So that could be something that you need to, like, it's in the spirit of that kind of concept, if that makes sense. Yeah, I see other people are giving you advice as well, so that's good. Hemant asks, do you hang any of your work in a gallery? I had a couple of, actually, funnily enough, I did have years ago, I had a couple of my digital paintings printed and hanging in a gallery for a while, but never the figure drawing. No, I don't know what you would need to do to even do that, and no one's approached me, so maybe one day. Yeah, people, death grip, I think you're making a good point, Lulu. Yeah. I have done digital a month. Whether I could say I do digital nowadays, like I work in Photoshop almost every day for something or another, but I haven't digital painted in a while, and really have no aspiration to do it, to be honest. If I'm going to do any painting, it'll be in traditional mediums, I think, from now on, unless I get called back into an animation job that requires it. But it doesn't feel like there's many animation jobs out there right now. The industry's in a bad place, it seems, by all accounts. Lulu says, I see figure drawing as like a skeleton for the art skill itself. It's not as flashy as a complete painting. I think mostly artists would be able to fully appreciate such things. Well, I agree in, you know, in as much as I think that I would say almost regardless of what type of art you plan on doing or what your discipline is, figure drawing is a really good space to work through ideas. Because, you know, there's nothing that we're really not covering to some degree or another in just a single one of these sessions. Everything from graphic design language through to, you know, dealing with the complexities of light and tone and the challenges that come with that. So it's a great way to kind of work through a lot of different ideas. I also find, you know, the one thing about drawing the figure, not that what I'm saying is groundbreaking or new, but, you know, drawing the figure is fairly unforgiving, right? So when it's off, we kind of know it's off pretty much straight away. You can only hide behind style so much. At the end of the day, you've either got the volumes right, you've either got the, you know, the different elements right or not. And we're all so familiar with the human form that when it's off, our spidey sense tells us almost immediately. It's like something's not right there. So it's a very kind of almost brutally honest gauge of, you know, our understanding of the language, so to speak. Going to switch pencil. What is your non-workable medium or which you hate? Don't know, to be honest, because I probably haven't worked with enough to formed opinions about them, to be honest. You're welcome, Linda. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer for you, Hemant. I don't really... I don't really have a medium that I hate. I tend to stay away from things that I don't like. Or I say that, like the other option is obviously, you know, just mastering them or trying to get better with them. But I don't really do enough art to find myself in those situations. Let's let's get a bit of tone into this thing. Got any new story like Monday? Any other stories of your life, please? Love story for art. Alright guys, you put me on the spot. I'll have to think about that for a minute here, and it might have to wait until the next session. That's really a mid-session question, guys. Right, like, I'm sure I can, I can think of lots, really. But I think, let's save that. Let's save that for Monday. But I like these questions, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys make the stream a lot of fun. We're getting close, folks. We're getting close. I hope you guys have enjoyed the session today. It's she really is a nice model. You know, I don't know why we haven't drawn her sooner. But she's actually a great model. And I think just what this Thursday needed. So yeah, I think it's been a good session. I can't believe that we only got through 3 poses. We will do a quick 5-minute sketch here at the end, just to, you know, just tie a bow around the session. I hope that I know I didn't talk too much about ideas during this one, but I hope you get the spirit of what I was saying about when we've got poses with a lot of symmetry and quite static. We can find ways to kind of push and hopefully bring a bit of dynamics into it. Can you explain your process to do the gesture? I'll talk about my process while we do this last drawing. Yeah, I'll happily do that. Enjoy when you talk about your process. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, honestly, I think, and I apologize if I'm low energy today. As I said at the beginning, I'm pretty sleep deprived today, and that kind of affects energy levels, you know. But hopefully, I didn't send too many people to sleep. I just need to find a good pencil for this gesture. None of these feel really adequate. Let me do a switcheroo here. Nope. You'll do. Okay. Okay, we'll do 5-minute pose. Actually, we'll do 6:57. Yeah, maybe I'll go to 5. It might be closer to 3. Let's see. Okay. Thanks, Lulu. All right, so large idea. Let's find the shoulder, the axis of the shoulders, and I want to find that spine right away. Right, this is a 3/4 back view. Just, you know, once again, it's really about, we're trying to find long lines of action. Even though this is also a relatively static pose, you know, we do want to try and get the spirit of gesture in it. So I guess one of the differences is I tend to try and go to closer to final shapes sooner when I'm doing these, when I'm doing a gesture pose. And this leg is coming back this way towards us, doing something like that. Okay. But you know, like at least the things I'm thinking about then, the things I'm kind of considering, don't change too much. I guess I just try and get the language down a bit quicker, if that makes sense. Yeah, you see, this is where if she had a bun, it would just be great for kind of, you know, helping hit up the orientation of what's going on. So I've just given her a bun by default. And you know what, like, you could say to yourself, well, maybe for a gesture, this is already kind of done. We'll keep going for a couple more minutes. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. Just, I think you would, you know, just to try and find a certain sense of immediacy, if that makes sense. Where are we at? 4:15. You know, for a gesture, this is probably close to done. All right, I think I'm going to call it before I overcook it, and then it's no longer a gesture. That, folks, there you go, 5 minutes. That, folks, was a good session. I enjoyed that. Hey, Margot, you made it. Okay, sorry, I'm just kind of reading comments there. So we will be back Monday. Hands and maybe forearms, right? Like, hands are attached to things. So we will talk about forearms. We will talk about the anatomy, or at least large ideas of the anatomy of what's going on with the bones of the forearm and the muscles and how that all connects to the hands. And we'll talk about some structural ideas for the hands, as we did for the feet on Monday, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So with that said, folks, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it's much appreciated. And yeah, what can I say? I will see you all on Monday. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend. It's almost there. You can smell it in the air, that Friday feeling. Have a wonderful weekend, and you know, most importantly, take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next week. All right, cheers. Bye now.